Hey guys, it's Will. So you've seen what BigBear AI is doing, signaling a massive shift in how AI meets the market. But signals aren't enough. In fact, you need a tool to act on them. And the tool is StockMate. Right now, we're offering the biggest discount we've ever run in lieu of the holidays here. And the critical part that you want to understand is this. When you get lifetime access to StockMate today, we aren't just going to give you a free t-shirt, this one right here with the logo on the back, and tomorrow's community live session and Monday through Friday daily live trading market sessions. But we're also including 14 days of unrestricted access to our brand new AI analysis app, Prophecy. Now, think of getting this AI and having the ability to test drive premium models like Gemini and GPT Pro, which cost over $400 a month, and you get to use them completely free, built right into your analysis. Now, we're only opening this to a handful of members. So because Prophecy is just getting started and the servers are currently capped to ensure lightning fast performance for everyone here, once those spots are filled, and they will fill up fast as people realize they're getting $400 worth of AI analysis for free, this entire offer disappears. So click the second link in the description below. You get $200 off with the coupon down there, you'll find, and 14 days free of Prophecy as long as you get up before the sign up page is taken down. So again, you can search any stock, Claude, OpenAI, Grok. In fact, let's start it off with BigBear AI here and pull up what some of the projections are. As you can see, the nearest support levels on BigBear AI are holding around $5 a share, with the closest support there around 550, 520 is also a level. And we have some resistance levels up here around $6 a share that it's approaching. So again, this is the Prophecy app. You can see over the next month, it's projected to get up into about 6.8%. And we could also pull in some other widgets to get an idea. But this is the power of AI, to get projections from the best AIs in the world. Not only that, you can see the next month, but you can also catch the next year or the next hour once those load up, and it gets you all the data, which is taking some time to do here. There we are. 3 months looks bullish, 15%, around 18% when we look at the 6 month. And over the next year, according to Claude, at least, it's a 42% increase. Now, it would probably help to compare the models as we're able to do that. We can go ahead and pull in, four model comparison and get all of the Prophecy models that are available at once and see how they're all stacking up. But again, that's going to take a little bit of time. So interesting to see, you got some projections. At $6 resistance level is there. Let's jump into it. So again, when we go over to the AI data center market, there's 3 things we look at in this market. The first is going to be the market of the defense contracts. You got the big beautiful bill definitely kicking in with the new spending from the US government. And you could look at this trend from BigBear over the last year. There's been numerous times where BigBear has surged, even back here in November of last year, right on my birthday, actually. It was like peaking out on the 22nd there, and then sold down, and people were calling it a pump and dump here. Then we saw it go up to $10 a share, and we entered in around $2.80. We've been holding it. And of course, people called it a pump here. People called it a pump here. People called it a pump after their earnings. And then they came in with more cash and some acquisitions in the AI world. And as you can see, while they have sold down a little bit, the RSI MACD kind of indicating more on the oversold side there, as you see them down here around this rising support level, they're still holding above the 200-day moving average with this uptrend. You can see that rising support over the last year and resistance, which again, we were expecting them to not surge straight up. It's never really like that. A lot of times there's going to be volatility on the way there. But the market, big beautiful bill spending, is going to increase a lot of what we see here with the defense markets. And as you can see, they're right here around this $5.75 support level. They're holding currently at the price of $5.89. They're looking to recover from this. 550 is the nearest support. So we want to watch, see if they hold that tomorrow morning at market open, and if they can, recover up to the $6.50 range. So again, at market open, if you want to be there and get access to the AI tools, then just again, that's going to be closing soon. The second link down below to get your hands on Prophecy AI as well for 14 days. So as you can see, the $7 price point is going to be that next level of resistance. And of course, if we're looking at the overall trend over the last year, to see BigBear AI get up into this $8 range to even up to $10 a share would not be crazy, as we've seen it make that run multiple times over the last year, just in this very consistent uptrend that it's been holding. So right now it's holding above the 200-day moving average. It's holding above $5.50, which is a very key level. And what we want to know tomorrow is, again, we want to see if they hold above that 550, because currently they have a lot of reasons that their stock could actually be not at the current 589 that they're at, but actually around $10 to $15 or more per share. Now, why is that? That kind of brings us to the news. So not only is the market seeing more money coming in, but you also have some real world usage hitting them in the market. They partnered with Palantir this past year along with Redwire. So they're partnered with defense companies. And some of their industries include surveillance in the Panama Canal, shipyard AI, so AI to build ships for the Navy. They also have some Pentagon contracts and Department of Defense contracts related to cybersecurity. And computer vision is where things get interesting. I think this is where they have their biggest advantage, which is their AI vision that has accuracy and efficiency for biometrics. Biometrics has competition. You definitely see other companies doing it. I think even SoftBank was doing something. You saw, if you looked at Palantir has been doing facial recognition. If you look at the Clear company, if you go through the airports, right at the front, they kind of say, hey, you know, you want to get your face scanned and just go through easy? It's Clear is what it's called. It's kind of like the TSA pre-check, but it's a third-party company. BigBear AI is like those companies. They're a third-party company that goes directly to the airlines, and this is where they have an advantage. Rather than spending all their time building out infrastructure directly with TSA, which they do have a very strong case for building more TSA infrastructure for the facial scanners in the airports, which we can get into. They got like their CEO was previously in Homeland Security and U.S. Customs and Border Protection, so there's that connection, and I think they're connected with the TSA pretty well. But where they're focusing is actually over on the gates at the airports. And so this has really changed the game for me personally, because, you know, I was just looking at our comments on the YouTube channel yesterday, and what happened was somebody, and this always happens, somebody said, hey, you know, there's this company called APLD. They do data centers, and we've been following them for quite some time. And they've really had a good year this year. And one of the comments from our YouTube channel, which I love, you guys, you know, especially in StockMate, I always hear from you guys about what you're seeing in your life, in your real world. You know, maybe it's the cars you see on the road more in your city, the Waymos, the robotics, the you know, the Starlink satellites going up in space. Oh, that's good for AMD, or those types of things. But somebody commented yesterday saying that, for example, APLD, the construction of the data centers was taking place, and that people were seeing that happen. And I thought, interesting, because those are the types of information that, because that guy works at the company that's doing the construction of the data centers, he shares that information with us, and we can actually get a pulse on the real world usage. Same thing with BigBear AI. In fact, I was getting selfies from people sending them to me on Instagram. Thank you guys. Appreciate all the comments and stuff on Instagram and the DMs, because I was seeing people were, hey, I'm getting my face scanned at this airport. Hey, I'm over here at this airport. I'm getting scanned. Airports that they hadn't even announced that they had deployed their VeriScan technology. And so that's what we found. So currently, I believe they're at Denver International Airport, LAX. They're over maybe in the UAE. They're at Heathrow. They're at JFK Airport. They're in Charlotte and Nashville and others. And they've been deploying pretty aggressively. Now, the news looks good. We haven't seen any news recently in the last week, which is fine. But it's really cool to see that they are deploying, continuing to deploy as of the last few months with their very scan. Now, something that was a little interesting though is, they also had some partnerships with like the Washington Commanders. That's related to a football team, an NFL team that's right there in Washington D.C. And hey, that's interesting. They had a collaboration here with BigBear AI related to something in the military with like shoes for the team, which is super strange, but sometimes they do stuff like that, I guess. But primarily what we're looking at is their recent acquisition of the AI company Ask Sage. It's good to see that they got the deployments. It's good to look at the financials. Again, the financials are looking better because they just jumped in with more revenue, or holding their revenue, but more cash. Total assets up to $1 billion, up 800% as of the last year. So they've grown. But the interesting part about the cash that they increased and their revenue stayed the same is they might actually see, not just from their contracts, some revenue increases, but they did just acquire a company called Ask Sage, which would be anticipated that they would see some revenue increases as well, as that company already has some deals with some US government agencies. So it's like an LLM, large language model company that builds out systems for top government contracts related to the getting the people, the AI, getting the government's AI to do stuff for them. So very interesting. They acquired the company, and we'll see if it's a good acquisition. They paid $250 million. The company's on track to do $25 million last year, so they paid a 10x valuation. Not unheard of in the AI market, but still a pretty hefty 10x. Usually you're looking at around 5 to 8%, or 5 to 8x makes a lot of sense for AI companies. At least that's what we've raised at for the Prophecy app, for example. And so when it comes to government defense AI, when you get in and you got the connections, obviously there's a big advantage because you're right there. So when it comes to the insider selling and buying, that was an interesting look too. I was just looking at here in the Prophecy app. Some of the insider buying and selling indicates that there's been some bullish institutional interest in BigBear with 261 buys versus 131 sells. Take with that what you would like, because there's also been insider buying and selling, and there's been more sells than buys on the insider side, which does indicate, again, 63 sells compared to 28 buys on the inside could indicate maybe a little bit of lack of confidence on the inside for some reason. But with that being said, in this last few quarters, they also got a new CEO. They had a lot of change in the company, and when those things happen, a lot of times shares are sold. And so it's possible that in the transition, like they got a whole new CEO this year, Kevin McAleenan. So it makes sense that they do have some changes there. So maybe not a red flag, because they still have a considerable amount of buys. And some of the sells, while there's a lot of sell orders, the sell orders are pretty small. Like it's counting sell orders, and you see like 1K shares here, 5K shares here, 22K shares there, 3K sold there, 6K shares sold there. Like not a lot of shares sold. And then you got one buy in October from the CFO for 200K shares. So the actual buy volume, I think, is greater than the sell volume. As far as cash totals, but I think the actual transaction amount, or the amount of transactions that were taking place, there was more sells. So not a red flag there by any means, but you do see some interesting looks. The next 4 hours, next day, it kind of turned around. We had some negative projections. We did see a dip. Looks like it's anticipating more of a dip at market open. So we'll see how it reacts there into tomorrow morning. If that is the case, we see a dip and then maybe a recovery potentially throughout the rest of the day. There's a lot of different time frames to look at. Most of them are bullish on the long term. When we pull up the quantum analysis, so you can actually get IonQ to look at all the different time frames and then give us the most confident time frame. The 1 hour time frame is the most confident for this IonQ analysis, the 1 hour time frame. So anticipating some sell downs again over about 1% in the next day or so. But let's take a look at Rigetti as well and see if there's any difference. Nope. They both quantum analysis projections indicate that there's a 70% confidence score that we're going to see some more sell down into tomorrow morning before potentially a recovery towards mid to end of this week for BigBear. So if that's the case, how does that look? Again, you might see them sell all the way down to that 200-day moving average. They might sell down as low as 550, as they're currently at 580. You wouldn't like to see too much of that, but again, the health of the stock is good. You don't want to see something go straight up. These pullbacks are very good. They've kept above the 200-day moving average, even when things have gotten shaky. So down to 550 makes a lot of sense, but you may look for a recovery up into that $6 range, about a 20% increase potential. They do jump back up into that $6.50 to $7 range from 550. Again, that's a 22% potential gain. Now, if we do end up trading it in the shorter term, on top of how we already hold it long term, we may even, if the opportunity is looking good at market open, look at BAIG. It's the 2x of BigBear AI, and it moves 2% when BigBear AI moves 1%. I wouldn't encourage any beginners to get started with the 2x, as it is higher risk. You have to kind of know exactly what you're doing, and you'd want to probably very clearly map out the support and where you would see the levels that if it breaks, it's not looking good, and you'd want to set a stop at that point. Have a clear criteria. Again, don't need to force any trades in the market volatility and how it's been recently. It's really important that in those shorter term trades that you have a plan, that you consistently work towards making sure that you execute that plan with consistency, and that you have a clear idea of where your profit would be and a clear idea of where your stop's going to be, and then execute the trade without emotions. So many people get so emotional, especially during the times of volatility with people talking about next big company and the hype. But again, just going straight to the balance sheet, straight to some of the real world usage, verifying that those things look good, then kind of seeing that the chart lines up, and then taking a trade with discipline and a clear plan is what's going to ultimately put you into the green. And so it's really important. Again, a lot of people, they miss out on stocks because they are too scared to sell if it goes down, and they let their losers ride. But what I'm saying is cut the losers short if you're in a market that's volatile, and look for those wins that are 5 times greater than the negative amount that you would lose in a stock, so that you can consistently work on a goal for your investing. And if you're in the shorter term trade, super important, especially if you're doing a 2x like BigBear AI's BAIG. But we'll see how it goes tomorrow morning. We're also watching the data center market this morning. We saw some good dips and a nice recovery there on APLX of about 11%, as they did sell off tremendously yesterday. You saw TSSI recover. We were in that trading it this morning. And then some of the other stocks, AMD went up. Some of the more solid plays went up, and our portfolio is up today in a volatile fashion, up about 6% today. So it's been a good day. Again, if you guys want to tune in, then we have a bunch of investors there at Market Open. Would love to have you there. And you can also get 14 days free when you get into the AI bundle with StockMate, and you can get $200 off with the link below. So I'd love to get you into this AI system, get it used for you, and also realize that there's only a few investors using it right now, but they are loving this right here. You can go even with the mobile view and start to get AI analysis of your favorite stocks with the best models in the world. So again, I would love to see you there. Simply have a look at the second link in the description below. Appreciate you all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.